to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
sense.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Amadeus.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Amadeus.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
In my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't here for my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get mad. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of M0lly.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X to my jeans and I got...
This is the sound of famous fun.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to the Queen M0lly TV show. I'm your host, Queen M0lly, and this is your daily vitamin. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. All right. Let's see who's in here. Okay, TC Dan. All right, Stacy Quinn, the Prince of Paraphernalia. Shout out to my moderators putting in work. Okay, Claudette, Pamela, Black Airman, Stacy. Okay, Howard, I see you. Missions, Visions, Cherokee Descendant Dale, Jeff ATL, Deronda, Stephen Wood, Nessie XT of Yah. Shout out to all of my loyal royals in the chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. Okay, so please like and share this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr_A_Shakur. TikTok at Dr. A. Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. And also, please double check to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving those notifications. Because mysteriously, people become unsubscribed on a daily. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, I'm sorry for being late, but some information just came out, or at least I just saw it, shall I say, about Craig Mack. Okay, so Rolling Stone did a whole expose on Craig Mack, and you all remember a few months ago, they did one on Diddy about him being, having a history of violence and beating his college girlfriend with a belt and all of this. So anyway, they did one on Craig Mack. I'm going to read some of it, not the entire thing because it's long. It says, in those early years, Craig Mack absolutely was the gas in the tank for Combs and Bad Boy. Former Arista Senior Vice President Lionel Ridenour gave this information to Rolling Stone. Now, a spokesperson for Bad Boy acknowledged that Mack played an essential role in the foundation of the label and that Flavor in Your Ear not only gave Bad Boy its first big hit, but also set the tone for the label's future. Saying that the track was the anthem. The track was the anthem that put Bad Boy on the map. This is what the rep said. And it showcased Diddy's hands-on approach in all aspects, including production, styling, and creative direction, which will become a hallmark of the label's success. But as Diddy and Bad Boy's stock rose, Craig Mack faltered behind his peers before dropping out of the industry altogether. They say, I just knew that how talented this kid was and how much further he could go. This is what Nelson says. But he got in his own way because of the way he thinks. Now, all his experiences at Bad Boy were a creative and financial struggles, says Easy Mo B. I think that's what tailspun him into all of the other different events that he ended up in. Now, that quest for survival is what it was. You enter the industry with this love for music, and then when you get there in the music business, you find out these other elements that take you on a whirlwind. By the early 2000s, Mack's glory days with Bad Boy were over, and he was stinging from a failed second project. An early marriage had ended abruptly, and in his early 30s, he moved into his mother's home with his 2 young children. He mainly supported his family through royalties that trickled in from Flavor in Your Ear. Mack also began billing himself as a producer to drum up more cash while working on the third project, called the Mack World Sessions, saying, I'm down here in hell with a story to tell, praying to God that my new ish sell. Okay, I'm still confused. Still, I feel like I got used. And he was likely talking about Diddy in those lyrics. Okay, in my opinion. Now, it was as if the past decade had never happened and Mack was at a breaking point. Now, one night he was sitting alone in his car, gun in hand, when he began pleading with God. Mack claims to the documentary team that he had made a deal with a man who was threatening his life because Mack owed him an album that he'd fronted cash for. That likely was Diddy. Who else? Saying, Lord, I don't want to do this. This is what he prayed. But if it comes to getting ugly where somebody is going to be trying to kill me, I'm going to have to do something first to prevent that from happening. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now, it wasn't unusual for Mack to pray. His Christian faith was a constant throughout his life. Mack would frequently quote scripture and have debates on rights and wrongs, like lecturing his former hype man Malcolm Johns about blowing cash at the strip club instead of going home to his kids. He wasn't a partier and turned down booze commercials, not wanting to promote drinking. His former attorney and one-time manager Paul Isina says. Now, he put the track When God Comes on his first album, asking the hip hop community, how would they answer to God when the rapture occurs and when Jesus comes back? This is what M0lly says. Now, I never met anybody musically in hip hop like that or who liked to dedicate a song to God. Mark didn't have a particularly religious upbringing, but Amanda recalls her father sharing a pivotal moment from his childhood. Mack didn't have a particularly religious upbringing, but Amanda recalls her father sharing a pivotal moment from his childhood. He claimed when he was a baby in Harlem, a hand reached out to him and said, "You're one of my children." Now, maybe that was a profound moment in the back of his head this entire time. Behind the wheel of a car, Mack says he begged God for guidance. It was in his heart to kill. It was in his heart to kill the unnamed man who was after him. Okay, flipping through the radio to distract himself, gospel music broke through the silence and an impassioned voice began preaching. I knew that it was God talking to me, he says. In the same way that he clung to a divine message from his infancy, Mack would embrace this preacher, looking to him as a newfound guiding force. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. So Mack never named this mysterious person who was demanding music and pushing him to his brink, though his loved ones have their suspicions and theories. Was it a Long Island Wolf of Wall Street type power broker who someone says had lent Mack money for an album? Was it related to Mack's unsuccessful attempts to regroup with Bad Boy around that time? Prone to keeping secrets, could Mack have been mixed up with someone no one knew? Did the person even exist? Several are dubious if Mack's come to Jesus moment in the car helped at all, or if it even happened at all. Growing up, okay, I'm not going to get into all of that. So, like I said, this is very lengthy. They have some pictures in here, and supposedly there was a documentary or something being recorded because they say he was talking to the documentary team. Now, I'm going to share a picture. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to share this picture on the screen. That's him and his ex-wife, Roxanne Hill Johnson. And, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that the person he was referring to was absolutely Diddy. That's who I think it was, because he did owe Diddy an album. And pay attention. Now, they said it could have been a Wall Street power broker, but no. A power broker wouldn't say that he owed them an album, okay? Please pay attention. It's likely Diddy because that's who he was signed to. So with that all being said, they also come out and reveal that he died of complications from HIV, though his family had earlier reported that he actually died from congenital heart failure or congestive heart failure. And they're saying now that it was complications from HIV. So, you know, that's a very sad plight. Until that talk, Mack had been a playful, if slightly traditional dad, launching into random tickle fights, talking to the kids at the Bronx Zoo, and waking them up at 2 a.m. in the morning to go see Kill Bill. I see so many other dads on the outside, Amanda says, and I'm like, oh my God, my dad was way cooler than y'all. Now, this is his daughter speaking. But within a few months of that family sit down, Mack had thrown out the kids' stuffed animals and restricted TV time. They spent Saturdays listening to sermons. Public education went from a key part of their development to blasphemous heresy. Science was the devil's work, and he tried to pull us out of the science class. This is what his daughter says. Eventually, I just got pulled out of middle school. Mack began shutting people out of his life too. Johns arrived at Mack's house only to be turned away. Now he opens up the door and says, "You're the devil. You guys are all going to hell." And he closed the door in his face, according to Johns. It was the last time that he ever saw Mack. Andrew in Washington had multiple conversations with Mack to try to dissuade him from moving with his children, but Mack was resolute. He brought large dumpsters to the home to chuck everything in. Then in the spring of 2007, Mack and his two children, Yoko and Muhammad, loaded up the car with the family dog and started their pilgrimage. Okay, we're going to skip past some of this. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. So he was on a walk with God. And I want you all to pay attention. Don't you all find it interesting that people who were dealing with Diddy, so many people that were dealing with him, all of a sudden found Jesus. They started following God. They got religious. Do you all think about that? Because Mace became a preacher. Okay. Mace became a preacher. And then Loon got real religious. Remember, Loon also went to prison. Now, I don't know if he got religious because he was in prison, but that's someone who was signed to Diddy who also got religious. Okay. It goes on to say that, hold on, beloveds. I don't want to read all of this because, like I said, it's a whole lot. Okay, so let's talk about his health. It says Mack's health was beginning to deteriorate. He was frequently catching intense colds and had begun using a cane. Andrew Karn, who struck up a friendship with Mack after meeting him at a grocery store near Walterboro, says he urged the rapper to seek medical treatment as his weight had dropped drastically. He struggled to walk and his skin turned darker. Now, around late 2014, Mack was telling people he'd been diagnosed with congestive heart failure, while there were moments that Mack believed he was going to die, going so far as to say his goodbyes to his kids, and then his health would improve. Although Amanda says doctors were out of the question, a brother Stair taught him that seeking medical care was a sign of not putting faith in God's ability to heal. Mack would sometimes risk being shamed to obtain medicine. Now, Jennings recalls Mack once being hospitalized and that he briefly took some medication before refusing to take anything else. Mack knew that he was gravely ill. That's when he called up his old friend, the late Long Island music producer, Alvin Toney, seeking to be the narrator of his own story. He got a haircut, dug out a heavy sweater that masked his weight loss, and put on a diamond-encrusted ring to regale Tony's documentary crew with stories of being the first bad boy artist. He chuckled and demurred when asked about bees, itches, that he met on tour, saying that he since married Yoko and waved off Brother Stair's arrest for sexual assault. Jesus was hated too, Mack noted. Okay, they killed him and they hung him on a cross. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. But March of 2018, there came a point when Mack couldn't pretend any longer. He was walking on a cane and it was barely enough to support him, and he became bedridden. Muhammad made a call to Mack's children in Vermont. It was time to say goodbye. Andrew, Amanda, and Asa drove through the night, returning to the trailer. The kids had the kids had fled from a few years earlier, so they went back to where they previously had stayed. Now, they all had been kept in the dark about the gravity of Mack's illness and were speechless when they saw him. Okay, I've truly, honestly never seen a human being in that condition before. This is what Andrew says. He was catatonic. This all sounds so sad. There was little to be done. Mack wanted to be in his home with no medical intervention, and his family abided by his wishes. The children and Andrew stayed with Mack for several days. Amanda never left his bedside. Okay, they eventually said their goodbyes, knowing it would be their last time, and they would be headed home. Now, before arriving back in Vermont, they received a call from Muhammad that Mack had died. He was 47 years old. There was no extravagant funeral plans. Mack wished for no fuss and to be buried on the Overcomer compound. Now, the day after his death, church members lowered his plain gray coffin into a grave they dug as Yoko and Muhammad stood solemnly nearby. They say Brother J. Craig Mack, his headstone reads to this day. It says Yoko and Muhammad both still live near or on the farm. Okay, this is according to Rolling Stone. Now, while Mack's family honored his wishes and repeated his assertion that he had congestive heart failure, Mack's cause of death was HIV/AIDS, according to his death certificate, and he had refused to seek treatment. Okay, so both Hill Johnson and Andrew believe that Mack learned of his diagnosis in New York and took off to the Overcomer ministry, using the church as a shield to ward off the shadows of his past. or whatever mistakes he made, this was his penitence. So they say, I believe that he was very much in denial, but that's him living in his truth to the end. This is what Andrew says. I know that sounds really crazy, but you have to know him to understand that. As much as that bothers me, I understand why he did what he did. He lived his truth. Now it's been 6 years since Mack's death, and the documentary that Tony started is in limbo. Hill Johnson hopes to revive the project to offer an honest portrayal of what happened to Bad Boy's first breakout artist. She's been working with filmmaker and photojournalist Andrew Theodorakis on rounding out the film with interviews with Mack's family members and friends. Okay, so they're working on this documentary. They were working on it before he died, and they want to go ahead and finish it. So that's just all very sad that he died from complications to HIV. I mean, it's sad that he died anyway, but the fact that he died in a struggle, okay, and he had all these issues and things of that nature. And, you know, Diddy absolutely played him out of his money, cheated him out of his money, just like he did many of his other artists, okay, at the end of the day. And the person that he was saying was threatening him, I absolutely believe it was Diddy. And that likely caused him a great amount of stress, because think about it. When you're already sick, you're in poor health, and then you're stressed out about something, finances, someone making threats and things like that. I'm sure it was a lot. Okay, so likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now let's get into it. Because Kevin Hart is back in the news, and now he's saying that when that whole 2017 SEX tape scandal came out, okay, basically that he was on M0lly. So blame it on the M0lly, not the alcohol. Now, the transcript was included in the documents filed by Hart's former friend, Jonathan Jackson, who's suing the comedian for a breach of contract. Okay, so a new filing in Kevin Hart's ongoing legal battle with his former friend, Jonathan J.T. Jackson, has led to the release of an interview transcript in which the comedian discusses the events surrounding his 2017 SEX tape scandal. The transcript was attached as an exhibit to an August 6th document filed by Jackson's attorneys in support of his lawsuit against Hart. Jackson accused Hart of breaching a settlement agreement that they signed in 2021, which pertained to the SEX tape scandal and related felony extortion charges brought against Jackson, but were eventually dropped. Now, the transcript captures a September 2017 interview between Hart and a district attorney investigator. Now, in it, Hart recounts an August 2017 trip to Las Vegas, during which the comedian slept with a woman named Montia Sabag, while his wife Iniko was pregnant. Now, Hart reveals that he was on ecstasy the night of the incident, claiming that a friend, who he doesn't mention the name of, pressured him into taking the illegal substance by telling him, I'm not going to let you do anything. And so Hart says he eventually said, well, F it, and put the drug in his drink. So now he wants to blame his friend for him taking illegal substances. Okay, please pay attention. Just a grown man in his 40s. So you're allowing your friends to pressure you into doing things, coerce you into doing things. Okay, make it all make sense. Now, while Hart acknowledged that he was effed up that night, he said he wasn't totally gone, and even his security detail said they weren't worried about him. He also admitted that he'd been flirting with Sabag throughout the night, but insisted he wasn't planning on sleeping with her. It was a nice flirt, and I knew that it could happen if I wanted it to. I didn't press the issue because at that point, I really didn't want it. This is what he says. Hart went on to say that Sabag eventually got in bed with him, and while they did not have SEX that night, they did the following morning. Now, the comedian went on to say, went to discuss the hidden camera that captured the act, but at no point did he accuse anyone of placing it there. He did, however, seem to suggest that Sabag knew where the camera was based on how she acted while they were having SEX, saying while we were having SEX, out of nowhere, she was facing one way. This is what Kevin says. She throws herself backward on the bed, and that was her attempt to get closer to the camera. When she did that, I pulled her back. You never see me having SEX in that area. That's when she got up. She then sat on the bench, which is in the video. Or I'm sorry, which is in the clear camera view. She sat on the bench and started talking to me. And in that video, if you look, There's a moment where I walk around and I look at her phone. She called me over there to say something to me, so you can't get a clear view of me. Now, this is all the transcripts. Now, a representative for Hart did not immediately return Rolling Stone's request for comment. Sabag has confirmed that she was the woman in the video, but claims she had nothing to do with the recording or the extortion attempt that followed. Sabag filed a $60 million lawsuit against Jackson and Kevin Hart in 2022, claiming they created the tape to promote one of Hart's stand-up tours, but the suit was ultimately dismissed. So she's trying to say that they did this for a publicity stunt, basically. Now, not long after Hart and Jackson's trip to Vegas, Hart's wife, Iniko, allegedly received an anonymous message that claimed her husband was cheating on her. Okay, the message was purportedly contained. It also purportedly contained a Dropbox link with an edited video of Hart engaged in an intimate act with a woman. That evening, Hart posted an apology video on social media. Now, in the comments, someone using the Instagram handle Mr. Judd said, "Give me $5 million or I'm releasing the video. No need to make this go public. You had your chance." This is so nefarious. Can you imagine? Now, can any of you all imagine this? Say what? You had your chance. But let me continue because this is all real interesting to me. So it goes on to say, hours later, the video footage was leaked, and soon the FBI was investigating the extortion plot. While Jackson was arrested, he was eventually cleared. Now, they say his lawsuit against Hart, brought earlier this summer, relates to a 2021 social media post from Hart on the whole matter. See, Jackson claims that Kevin was required to use specific verbiage to publicly exonerate Jackson, but the comedian's wording diluted his intent by framing the exoneration more as a conclusion to a chapter in Hart's own life rather than a clear, unequivocal exoneration of Jackson. So in the August 6th filing, which contains the deposition transcript, Jackson's attorneys argue that Hart's interview with a district attorney investigator supports this claim, that in the interview, the filing alleges that Kevin Hart confirms multiple key points that refute the claims made against Jackson and show Hart instigated criminal extortion charges that led to Jackson's arrest. Okay, because when somebody put that in the comment section or whatever, Kevin could have done that himself. Okay, Kevin could have put that in there himself. Please pay attention. At the end of the day, I would not put it past him because he's the main one who's always trying to say someone's extorting him. He said the same thing about Tasha K when information about him was dropped. Okay, and so please pay attention. At the end of the day. So likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now, with that all being said, here's another article that says, it says Kevin Hart admitted to dropping the hallucinogenic drug M0lly the weekend that he ended up cheating on his wife. Now, in the transcription of the Fatherhood star's deposition filed in Los Angeles Superior Court on August the 6th as part of Jonathan J.T. Jackson's lawsuit against Hart, which was obtained by Page 6, Hart claimed that his friend, whose identity he has kept concealed, pressured him to do the drug, telling him that nothing was going to happen. He won't let nothing happen to him. Okay. So what do you all think about this? I mean, who do you all think that was in the comments? Sounds like it was possibly Kevin to me. It seems like Kevin did that or had someone to do it. That's just all I'm saying. I think it was all planned. Okay. So anyway, it goes on to say, likes up, everyone, please like and share. So anyway, it goes on to say that Hart, 45, goes on to describe meeting Sabag, the woman whom he eventually had relations with in Las Vegas. Now, he details his and Motia's romp and claims in hindsight, he realized that she was trying to get closer to the hidden camera. So here's the thing. Do you all think this woman was really in on it? Because if she knew the camera was there, okay, OG Patrice said Kevin is full of it. Yeah, I think so too. Because he's trying to imply that the woman knew the camera was there and that she was being recorded. So that all being said, that means that he knew it was being recorded too, if that's the case. Okay, please pay attention. Now, According to Jackson's lawsuit, he and Kevin signed a meticulously negotiated settlement agreement July of 2021 that explained that Hart would issue a powerful public apology, a powerful public statement proclaiming Jackson's innocence of the SEX tape scandal. Jackson claimed that Kevin was supposed to say that the incident cost him a very valuable friendship, that he lost someone close to him, someone whom he loved, that he's proud to say that all the charges against JT Jackson have been dropped and that Jackson is not guilty and absolutely had nothing to do with it. But instead, 3 months later, Kevin wrote on Instagram that Jackson had been found not guilty because those charges have been dropped against him. Now, the Bud's House actor felt Hart's statement failed to clear Jackson's name unequivocally and restore his reputation. So Jackson is seeking more than $12 million in damages and a trial. So here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention, because what Kevin agreed to do was go out there and apologize and say the man didn't have anything to do with it and broke up their friendship or whatever. But he didn't want to do that. And likely he didn't want to do that because he was lying the whole time. Let's not forget that I reported to you months ago how it was alleged that Kevin gave false documentation, like made up whole documents to try to get this man railroaded. Okay. At the end of the day, On Purpose says, Kevin Hart has low self-esteem features. Okay, Shirley said in that video, he doesn't look like he's on drugs to me. You saw the video? I never saw it. But and here's the thing. Whether he was on illegal substances or not, he knew what he was doing. Okay, because please pay attention. Now, he alleges that he didn't have relations with her that night, but they woke up the next morning and had relations. So even if he did put a hallucinogenic drug in his own drink the night before, would the drug still have been working the next morning? Likely not. Did he wake up in a stupor or something? Okay, so I believe that he absolutely knew what he was doing. I absolutely believe that he knew what he was doing, and that he just made up these lies, because his wife found out. Now, it still remains the question of who made the phone call to Eniko. No one seems to have that answer, but at the end of the day, I think that's why Kevin made all this up. T of y'all said Kevin cheated after that. Okay, was the drugs working then? On Purpose said, I heard Molly is heavenly. Honey, I don't know if it is or isn't. I clearly don't want to find out. Leon Gardner said he's small all the way around. Okay, Kevin Hart is knee-high to a grasshopper, honey. Please pay attention. With that all being said, I don't believe anything that comes out of his little bitty mouth, okay? Don't believe it. Okay, we already see how he was sitting up there lying on Tasha K, talking about she tried to extort him for $250,000, but at the same time saying that one of her people reached out to him, never specifying who. That could have been anybody if anyone even did, but I don't think anyone did. I think he made it all up. Okay, I think he made it up. And like I told you all months ago, whenever somebody's threatening to expose Kevin or someone does come out and expose him, there's an interview or something done where somebody's dropping receipts on him, that's his go-to move to claim extortion. Okay, to claim extortion. What are y'all laughing at? Because I said he's knee-high to a grasshopper. He is. Dorada said, Queen said knee-high to a grasshopper. That's what he is. Y'all know it's true. I'm not making this up. But anyway, like I said, Kevin is full of crap. He wants us to think that the Molly had him do it. No, he knew what he was doing. Okay, you took the Molly the night before, said he put in his drink, and then took it the night before, and then said he didn't do anything that night. He woke up the next morning and did it. Okay, so I have several questions. How's this making any sense? And so with that all being said, let's go to Russell Simmons, because Russell Simmons has gone in on Black folk, basically saying y'all need to stop talking trash because he has not been proven guilty. He's not talked to any police or any of those things, and you need to lay off his friends. And here's just some of the pictures of people who have visited him. He says, we don't know who all has visited him, but the ones that we do know of, we shouldn't be trying to give them the business because that's their prerogative. And he has not been found guilty. And he said some of y'all Black folk be standing beside Trump, but Trump has been found guilty and he hasn't. He said, y'all need to knock it all off. And then he also said to go and ask Oprah. Okay. Please pay attention, because didn't I do a video months ago telling y'all that Oprah was clearly caping for him? All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen so you all can hear what Russell has to say.
People, did you forget that I got 10,000 black men out of jail? And that I changed the factory farming industry forever? And that I registered more of you to vote than probably anybody you know? And I worked for Black Lives Matter and every movement that's helped our people, the women's rights and even gay rights movements that I did so much work for, to let them demonize me in such a way that my friends cannot visit me without you attacking them. Yet you stand next to Donald Trump. Knock it off. I'll be in New York next week. This idea that I'm hiding is stupid. I call a paparazzi on myself every time I'm there. I work out in New York sometimes, but I live here. I live here to heal people. And this is my life work. My last chapter is to heal people and to give them spiritual, physical, and mental rejuvenation. But just attacking people who visit me. You have no idea who all have been here, but what you did to few of the people who visit me. Are you under some kind of technology? Are you lost? I'm your friend, black people. I've been my whole life a supporter of all the initiatives that lift you up. Still to date, I have never spoken to a policeman about anything. I've never spoken to a judge, civil or criminal, about anything. From what I can tell, Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, President Trump, all have more credible claims against them than I do, if you ask Oprah. I've never been charged with who took 9 lie detector tests, 7 of which from the chairman, the polygraphist. Did Bill Clinton do that? Did Joe Biden do that? Did President Trump do that? Knock it off. I love you. I just don't want my friends attacked. I wish you all the best. But just leave my friends alone. Don't attack them for visiting me. Attack friends for visiting Trump. He's been convicted. Knock it off. Again, I'm at the Mercer Hotel, be working, not hiding, and I'm going to wish you all a beautiful evening.
Okay, so he said he's not hiding. Y'all need to knock it off, clearly. Okay, he has not been to the court. He has not talked to any police officers, and y'all need to stop hating on him when y'all sit up here and condone Trump's effery. And at the end of the day, y'all need to tell people to stop visiting Trump. That's what he said. He said, are y'all caught up in technology? Leon Gardner says he talks like he's not black. Okay, black people. Okay, hold on. Michael M said the devil is a smooth liar. Okay, I find it all interesting. So do you all think he's lying? Do you all think he's guilty of the accusations or not? Do you all think that in fact that he did any of the things that have been alleged? I just have questions. One's in the chat if you think Russell Simmons is in fact guilty. Two's if you think that he's innocent. Let's talk about it. One's if you think he's guilty. Two's if you think that he didn't do a thing. On purpose said he's zesty. I don't know if he's zesty or not, but what I do know is that I'm about to read one of these court filings. Do you all remember when somebody, when I reported to you all that somebody had him served, one of the accusers had him served over there in Bali while he was at a restaurant, no less? So let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see the documentation. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. I've had these documents for months, actually. All right. So now he's saying that he's innocent and all that he didn't do it. So let's get into it. Everyone, please get those likes up. Thank you, beloveds. And so let's see if we change our minds after hearing what the documents say. Plaintiff Jane Doe, by and through her undersigned counsel, makes the following allegations against defendant Russell Wendell Simmons. Upon personal knowledge as to her own acts and status, and upon information and belief to all other matters. Now, this lawsuit chronicles the account of how a woman who, while pursuing her career and passion as a music executive, was sexually harassed, assaulted, sexually battered, and raped by her boss, Russell Simmons, a rich and powerful celebrity whose wealth and influence allowed his abusive behavior to go unchallenged for decades. Russell Simmons is a music producer and mogul and the co-founder of Def Jam Recordings, considered by many to be the king of hip hop. Mr. Simmons made Def Jam the defining rap label of its era. Now, even after Mr. Simmons sold his stake in Def Jam for a reported $100 million in 1999, he served as an ambassador for hip hop through comedy, Def Jam Comedy, and Fat Farm, the clothing line, and activism. Now, Miss Doe is an accomplished film producer. She worked as a senior level music executive at Def Jam Recordings. Under her leadership, the video production division experienced rapid growth and expansion, producing higher quality videos that MTV then sought to play. She successfully attracted renowned directors and high-end production creatives to participate in Def Jam projects. Now, this significantly expanded the label's presence on MTV. Def Jam experienced increased airtime and exposure for their artists, leading to greater sales. Now, Miss Doe's career in the music industry was disrupted and derailed by a devastating experience at the hands of Mr. Simmons. While at first Mr. Simmons and Miss Doe had a professional working relationship, Mr. Simmons revealed his true colors, and through his abusive or assaultive behavior, disabled Miss Doe's career at Def Jam, a job she loved, and at the height of her success and financial viability. Now, one day, Miss Doe was required to visit Mr. Simmons' apartment located in Manhattan, New York, in the Southern District of New York, where he typically held meetings to have him review a new video for approval. Initially, Mr. Simmons began to wrestle with Miss Doe in an attempt to appear playful. The situation escalated into aggression, and Mr. Simmons pinned Miss Doe down on a bed. Miss Doe repeatedly told Mr. Simmons to get off of her, but he refused. Mr. Simmons proceeded to grape her. Miss Doe was wrought with distress, and at the peak of her career success at Def Jam, making award-winning videos for their biggest artist, she experienced overwhelming anxiety, shame, humiliation, and debilitating low self-esteem. She suffered frequent panic attacks, struggling to go to the Def Jam offices or to function in her leadership role. She tried to continue to work at Def Jam, but just a short time after the assault, to the surprise of peers and colleagues, she gave notice, quit the job she loved, and moved across the country to California. She eventually confided in a small group of trusted friends and therapists about what happened, now long before the passage of New York's Adult Survivors Act in 2022. So she was supposedly already saying these things years ago and reportedly getting therapy. Now, here's the thing with that. If she, in fact, told other people about this years ago, then she would have witnesses. And also, if she went to therapy, then there would be documentation that she, in fact, sought therapy. Now, Miss Doe's shocking experience at the hands of Mr. Simmons is unfortunately just one of many. Over 20 women have accused Mr. Simmons of sexual harassment or assault. Generally, the victims did not know each other, and there is a striking similarity of a pattern of behavior in most of the alleged assaults by Mr. Simmons. Now, to stress the enormity of the issue, once his crimes became known, Mr. Simmons was forced to resign from many of his business ventures and several of his charitable organization boards. This complaint requests general, punitive, and economic damages for loss of employment, loss of business opportunities, loss of wages, and to compensate Ms. Doe for injuries suffered as a result of the unlawful conduct alleged herein. Defendant Russell Wendell Simmons is domiciled in New York, New York. Well, now he's staying in Valley, so... Now, the amount in controversy in this action exceeds the sum or value of $75,000, excluding interest and cost, and is between citizens of different states. Accordingly, subject matter jurisdiction is proper under, 28 U.S. Statute 1332. Now, this court has personal jurisdiction over the matter, and as Mr. Simmons sexually assaulted and raped Ms. Doe in New York, New York. Now, this action has been timely filed under New York's recently passed Adult Survivors Act. okay, which beginning on November the 24th of 2022, created a 1-year look back window for the survivors of sexual assault that occurred when they were over the age of 18, allowing them to sue their abusers regardless of when the abuse occurred. Like the Child Victims Act, the ASA is a landmark piece of legislation for survivors of sexual abuse to file claims otherwise barred by the statute of limitations. Ms. Doe has also timely filed under the Gender Motivated Violence Act, which provides a look-back window for the survivors of gender-motivated violence through March the 1st of 2025. The actions described herein constitute sexual offenses by Mr. Simmons under New York Penal Law Article 130 and were committed against Ms. Doe when she was over the age of 18 years old, for which she suffered physical, psychological, and other significant injuries as a result. The events giving rise to these causes of action occurred in the Southern District of New York, specifically in Manhattan, New York, where Mr. Simmons sexually assaulted and raped Ms. Doe. Thus, venue in this district is proper. So that's where they filed the lawsuit in the Southern District of New York. Now, Jane Doe is over the age of 18 and has worked in the music and entertainment industry for over 25 years. In or around the early 90s, Ms. Doe started producing music videos. Many of the videos she produced were for Def Jam, though at the time she had her own independent production company. Now, during the mid-1990s, Ms. Doe went in-house and worked for Def Jam. While at Def Jam, she was responsible for supervising film production and demanding release schedule for a large artist roster. Ms. Doe worked in collaboration with numerous directors, executives, and many iconic music artists to develop concepts for groundbreaking campaigns directed at a global youth market. Her videos received multiple awards, including from Billboard and MTV. After Mr. Simmons assaulted her, Ms. Doe quit Def Jam in 1997 and worked as an executive producer for film and commercial production companies. She ran divisions to make visual music content, including music videos, live concert films, and music documentaries. Now, Ms. Doe brought in new business, signed exciting new talent, collaborated with A-list film directors on projects, supervised sales teams in procuring creative and lucrative accounts, and supervised all production. Despite her success, Ms. Doe found it difficult to be an effective employee or remain in a position for more than a few months, experiencing the effects of trauma from Mr. Simmons's assault. She had radically changed from the confident and enthusiastic executive known for excellent coping skills in the face of chaos. She struggled in her relationships with employers. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. When she encountered conflict with a superior, she became overwhelmed with anxiety and had to disengage. Now, this was the opposite of how she was before the assault. An exemplary employee who could handle any conflict, known for positive and productive relationships with crew, artists, and employers. Her value as a problem solver and a diplomat in very challenging and demanding work environments diminished significantly. Now, after the assault, she became a completely different person. Nevertheless, from 2000 to 2018, Ms. Doe was employed by numerous studios on projects as a writer and producer, including Netflix, 20th Century Fox, CBS Films, Columbia Pictures, Warner Brothers, and New Line Cinema. Currently, Ms. Doe has a family film set up at Netflix and is adapting a children's book as a feature film. Now, Russell Simmons is a pioneering hip-hop and business mogul considered by many to be the king and face of hip-hop. Okay, so some of this is getting to be repetitive, so I'm going to skip past some of it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. So, in fact, the practice at the time, hold on, let me go back just a little bit. Okay, however, when Ms. Doe first met Mr. Simmons, he was not flirtatious with her at all. In fact, they ran into each other and spoke many times in her capacity as an independent producer contracted to make Def Jam videos before she officially started to work at Def Jam in the mid-1990s. They were professional colleagues. Once employed at Def Jam, a professional relationship with Mr. Simmons continued, and Miss Joe would deliver music videos to Mr. Simmons' apartment for review with no incident. See, that's where she went wrong. That's where she went wrong. I don't care who your boss is, ladies, or how nice they are, how comfortable you feel around them. You should never be going to your boss's private residence unless you're the assistant and you have to work with them at home. But if you're working at a company, there's no need ever for you to go to your boss's residence, okay, by yourself. If you do go, you should have other employees there with you or someone who's a witness. That's just never a good idea, in my opinion. Okay, so she would go to his house and whatever, and there was no incident. Now, in fact, the practice at the time was so common that many people worked in and out of Mr. Simmons' apartment. Mr. Simmons rarely sat at a desk. He would be on a treadmill or on his couch when both women and men would come over to conduct business. Ms. Doe's colleagues at Def Jam and other executives and artists frequented Mr. Simmons' apartment on a regular basis, sometimes working together. It was a very casual environment for everybody. Like I said, if you're going to go there, you should have other people with you. You should not be going alone. Now, Mr. Simmons called people over to his Manhattan apartment all the time when he did not want to come to the office, as he lived nearby the office. If an employee or colleague would not get a hold of Mr. Simmons at the office and thus could not move forward on a project without his approval, it was common to head over to Mr. Simmons' apartment in order to show him something or to get approval. Before the assault, Mr. Simmons suddenly began to turn his rapacious attention toward Miss Doe. Mr. Simmons would arrive at Def Jam, enter Miss Doe's office, and shut the door behind him. He would sit on her desk, lean on her, aggressively invading her personal space while making sexual innuendos, suggestions as well as suggestions and advances, and rubbing the front of his pants. This is all nefarious. First of all, that was a red flag right there. He's coming in her office, shutting the door and getting all close and aggressive. Now, Mr. Simmons would follow Miss Doe to the door or block her path to prevent her from opening it again. Now, this happened repeatedly during that time period. Mr. Simmons' harassment of Miss Doe in the office was so pervasive that when a senior executive became aware that Mr. Simmons was in the building and had gone to her office, he immediately went to Miss Doe's office, banged on the door, and opened it to yell at Mr. Simmons to leave. That sounds like a witness, if that's true. Now, on one occasion, Miss Doe brought to Mr. Simmons' apartment a rough cut of a video that she needed him to view for approval. Now, see, here's the thing. Why would you go to his apartment by yourself after he's done all this in your own office? I just would not feel safe and secure. Who would go to his apartment after him doing all of this? Okay, so this is like setting yourself up for failure or putting yourself in a bad predicament as far as I'm concerned. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Now, Mr. Simmons aggressively and relentlessly flirted with Miss Doe, made sexual innuendos and advances, asked sexually explicit questions, including personal questions about her sexual preferences and questioning if she was currently wearing a bra. Now, on this day, Miss Doe was wearing professional attire, including a suit jacket and pants. Miss Doe responded by telling Mr. Simmons to cut it out and stop it, trying to deflect his attention, refocus on the work, while trying not to sound accusatory or bruise his ego. Now, Mr. Simmons brought Miss Doe to a bedroom to watch the rough cut. Now, see, that's where you're going wrong even furthermore. Okay, he couldn't watch it in the living room, the den. He had to go to his bedroom. Why would you go to this man's bedroom? This man's been being aggressive and saying flirtatious things and things that are sexual to you that you didn't want. So anyway, it goes on to say it was not an uncommon practice for Mr. Simmons to conduct business in a bedroom while sitting on the bed. Doesn't it sound like Diddy? When Rodney Jones said that Diddy would have Lucius Grange and Ethiopia have Tamaram come over and they would be in his bedroom for hours. I don't know if they were working on rough cuts, though. I think they were working on something, but rough cuts is not what I think it was with Diddy. But let me continue. So Mr. Simmons had a childlike and playful demeanor and began jumping on the bed while continuing to make sexual advances and asking Miss Doe to have sex with him. Miss Doe responded by saying no and treating the suggestion as though it was a ridiculous idea while being cautious not to offend Mr. Simmons. Honey, I wouldn't have gave a darn about offending him because I would have been offended. And why is he jumping on the bed like a fool? How old is he? 6? Okay, that would have made me think that he was a little off or something's not right. And that's just crazy. Now, all of a sudden, Mr. Simmons performed a wrestling move, climbing on top of Miss Doe, pinning her arms down on the bed. Miss Doe began to sweat profusely. Mr. Simmons then sat up on top of Miss Doe, insisting they should have sex. Miss Doe rejected his advance and told him to get off and stop several times. She told him she was serious and she meant it. But Miss Doe was forcefully pinned, could not move under his weight, and Mr. Simmons would not listen to her. She tried repeatedly to get up. Yeah, she put herself in a bad situation if this is all true. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, undeterred, Mr. Simmons ignored Miss Doe's resistance and proceeded to grape her. After it was over, Mr. Simmons left the room. As Miss Doe pulled herself together to leave, Mr. Simmons called Miss Doe to the bathroom, where he was now taking a bath with the door open and attempted to walk around, talk about work for a few minutes before dismissing Miss Doe to go back to the office. This is all nefarious. Now, after the assault, Miss Doe went back to the office, but was forever changed. For weeks, she told no one about what happened. She experienced severe disassociation, depression, and anxiety. She no longer went to the Def Jam offices regularly to work and came up with reasons to work from her nearby apartment. After a short time, Miss Doe gave notice, left Def Jam, and left New York altogether to move to California, where her family was living. Because of Mr. Simmons, Miss Doe gave up her high-powered dream job running a thriving division that she had built and a large salary. Now, the pride she had for her role in helping transition marginalized music genre to one of the most popular and lucrative in the world was now gone. Miss Doe took a series of short-lived positions in Los Angeles, marking her skills as a crossover brand creator, bringing her experience in diversity and hip-hop to Hollywood, and creating music video divisions for commercial and film companies. Okay, now, but at the same time, she was experiencing debilitating anxiety, had difficulty handling emotions in a professional setting, unexplained mood shifts, and severe depression. Formerly an exemplary employee with nothing but positive and productive relationships with male employees or male employers, Miss Doe became defensive, anxious, and sensitive. Her value as a leader, problem solver, and diplomat diminished significantly. Interactions with male employers were fraught with tension, and the slightest conflict became heightened and emotional. She suffered panic attacks and developed an eating disorder. Now, if she can prove any of this through documentation, I'm sorry, Mr. Simmons. I'm going to have to believe her. Now, she sought therapy and was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder. In a 2-year period after the assault, Miss Doe left 3 jobs at high-end production companies after struggling to handle stressful interactions or conflicts with her employers. In 2017, that was the year of reckoning for sexual abusers and harassers whose power and wealth had previously shielded them from accountability. The hashtag #MeToo movement exploded into a global phenomenon, and seemingly untouchable people in power suddenly found their past actions catching up with them. Diddy, anyone? Now, in November of 2017, Mr. Simmons and filmmaker Brett Ratner were accused of teaming up to engage in sexual assault against model Carrie Clausen Kalihi. Now, on December the 13th of 2017, the New York Times published an extensive article on Mr. Simmons where multiple women came forward accusing Mr. Simmons of sexual assault. In each case described in the article, numerous friends and associates confirmed that they were told of the incidents at the time the assaults occurred several years prior. Okay, so here's the thing. This is all sounding like it's got some, like it's plausible, okay? Because these people supposedly had talked about this previously. So if this is true and they have witnesses, how does he deny this? Okay, I just want to see how this is all going to pan out. Now, in 2020, the documentary On the Record premiered at Sundance and was released digitally on HBO Max. Like the New York Times article, this documentary covered the allegations of rape and sexual misconduct against Mr. Simmons. Now, when Ms. Doe learned about the accounts of other survivors, she was struck by how similar they were to her own horrible experience at the hands of Mr. Simmons. Ms. Doe revealed to family members, friends, and therapists that Mr. Simmons had sexually assaulted her as well. This was long before the Adult Survivors Act presented an opportunity to hold Mr. Simmons accountable for his actions by suspending the statute of limitations for sexual assault matters. Over the years, Ms. Doe encountered Mr. Simmons in some social settings and for a short time was employed at a company that he co-founded. She worked hard to normalize interactions with this looming figure in the entertainment industry. Shockingly, Mr. Simmons's callous grape of Ms. Doe was not enough. In or around March of 2023, Ms. Doe went to a crowded yoga class in Los Angeles and inadvertently parked her yoga mat next to Mr. Simmons after not speaking with him for several years. Mr. Simmons said her name, and Ms. Doe looked up in shock to see him, asking him, "Is it okay if I practice here?" Mr. Simmons leaned towards her and whispered, "Of course. What do you think I'm going to do? What do you think? I'm going to try and F you?" Wow. Now, I'm sorry, but this is all very detailed. Do y'all think she's making this up? Miss Doe was horrified. She realized not only was he unapologetic towards her personally, but did not appreciate that the assault was wrong. Okay, so anyway, goes on to talk about how this lawsuit was filed under the Adult Victim Survivors Act. And so, like I said, this all sounds plausible to me. I'm not going to read all of it. Let me scroll down some. It says, Mr. Simmons committed a crime of violence against Miss Doe because she is a woman, and at least in part because he has an unlawful animus towards women. Okay, and so Mr. Simmons' gender-motivated animus towards women is demonstrated by among other things, his sexually abusive treatment of women. Now, as a direct and proximate result of the aforementioned gender-motivated violence, Miss Doe has sustained in the past and will continue to sustain monetary damages, physical injury, pain and suffering, and serious psychological and emotional distress, entitling her to an award of compensatory damages. Now, Mr. Simmons' gender-motivated violence against Miss Doe entitles her to punitive damages and an award of attorney's fees and costs. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. So here's the prayer for relief. Wherefore, Jane Doe respectively requests judgment against Mr. Simmons, awarding compensatory, consequential, exemplary, general, and punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial, cost of suit, attorney fees, and such other and further relief as that the court may deem just and proper. Jane Doe demands a trial by jury on all claims so triable. And this is signed February the 13th of 2024. Okay, so what do y'all have to say about that? What do you guys have to say about that? Do you all believe it or not? Do you all believe it or no? I have questions. Russ was accused of intimidation by one of his own kids, says T of y'all. Okay, on purpose said the bag will heal her. Derek says, it looks like he doesn't have anything to abuse anyone with. What? Okay, Reggie says, come back now, Russell, because this isn't going away. Jeff ATL said, I definitely believe it. You Love Y'all says something happened. Listen, I don't think this lady made this all up because it is very thorough and detailed. And then she says that she went to therapy. Now, like I told you, this is something that can be easily proven or disproven. If she went to therapy, there's records and receipts and documentation. Okay? There were payments that were made because therapy is not free. All right? They keep track of all of this. Sandra says, I believe it. Okay? So with that all being said, Nessa G said he needs to be brought back to the U.S. and stand trial. Well, here's the thing. He said he's not running. He said that he does come to the U.S. and that he's going to be back in New York very soon. He also said that every time he comes here, he calls the paparazzi on himself. That's what he said. He also talks about how he took 9 lie detectors. Now, I'm going to tell you why that doesn't mean anything of significance to me. The fact that he passed 9 lie detectors, those don't really mean anything to me because he knows, you know, he's a spiritual person. He knows all about meditation and all of that. Okay. He knows about how to control your breathing because they teach you this in yoga. They teach you this in yoga, how to control your breathing and all of that. So, and that's what they go by, your breathing, your nerves and all of that when they do those polygraph tests. So someone, and also here's the thing, someone who's a sociopath or a pathological liar, I'm not saying that he is, but I'm just giving examples. Someone who's a sociopath, a psychopath, or a pathological liar, they could easily pass a polygraph test because pathological liars, in fact, believe their own lies. And psychopaths and sociopaths are pathological liars. Now, I'm not saying he's any of the 3, but I believe he's at least one of the 3. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And so with that all being said, OG Patrice said, Queen, the Jane Doe is named Drew Dixon. She tells her story on YouTube. Okay. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. All right. Jeff ATL said that ninja is a pathological liar. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I just want y'all to pay attention. Now, everyone, please like and share. But do you all remember something? There was a video that I did a few months ago. Let me see if I can find it. There was a video. Here it is right here. Hold on. Let me go to this video that I did months ago because I want you all to remember something. If you remember what Jaguar Wright said, let me just pull this video up. Hold on. Give me just a second. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. I already know the timestamp. Let me just pull this up. Okay, here it is right here. I did this video December the 8th of 2023. Now I'm going to share this on the screen because you all might remember this. Hold on. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Seen 2 copies of it. The shit was terrible.
Okay, here we go.
Far, far away. So I don't have to be worried about whether or not when she goes to work, if I got to hear about her on the news, you see. When I say go to work, she a professional. I wish people knew how many times that woman has put her life on the line. Got your Hanukkah wish? I hope you choke on it, bitch. I'm sorry. It's just upsetting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was still muted. Listen, so what I was saying was, thank you, Deronda, beloved. So what I was saying was, I fast forwarded because previously when she's talking, I think she was talking, that's the part where she was talking about Kim Porter. And she said that she had read some of Kim Porter's memoir, like 2 chapters or something like that. And then she starts talking about Russell Simmons. Okay, so let me fast forward just a bit.
Motherfucker, no, nigga.
You think that Diddy or anybody else had her taken out because of that tell-all book?
I'm saying right now, I believe in my heart. I'm not saying I know it to be absolutely true because the first coroner, unfortunately, he's no longer with us.
Hey.
Ain't that funny how that happened?
Yeah, one could say.
Sometimes it ain't healthy to be a doctor for the rich. Nah. I'm saying that I do believe that Sean Combs hired someone to administer a lethal agent into Ms. Porter's food and her medical supplies. Yes, I do believe that. Fucking with her food. Like, this pussy is so motherfucking, like, he fucking will track down your fucking Grubhub and your DoorDash deliverer and shit. Like, this motherfucker.
How many men should be worried right now in the industry after seeing?
I say about a good 50. Kim's book would have ripped hip hop to shreds. And somebody owes Wendy Williams an apology. She was absolutely right that the homo thugs was up in them streets. It's funny. You know.
All right, so I'm going to stop it right there.
Y'all should be scared. Y'all should be scared.
Hold on,
let me ask you this about Diddy. Let me ask you this about him, because you said that a lot of people knew, right? And there's been rumors and stuff speculated about him for decades. Yeah. What did he do to? What do you think he did to get that veil of armor, that protection? Because if everybody knew nobody was doing nothing, he was walking around with immunity for all these years.
He got himself a tough Jew. And it just so happens he's queer as a $4 bill. I always found it interesting how Diddy would suck up to Clarence Avon, but then go talk about him like a fucking dog with that goddamn Queen Clive Davis. Clive was.
This is for all my
thugs who have wives who just.
Hold on, beloveds.
Diddy up.
Just trying to fast forward.
And you let him go in them streets, didn't you? Now old Clarence is gone. Guess you happy, huh, Cloud? Got your Hanukkah wish? I hope you choke on it, bitch. I'm sorry. It's the upsetting.
Kim Porter. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so I was trying to go to the part where she says that Diddy learned it from Russell. Hold on.
You don't mind me saying it's tough news. Nigga. I don't know how many times she done went through parties in Calabasas and back, pictures, documents, files. And I never spoke about it publicly before now because she was still very active, but she is now since made a big life change and moved far, far away. So I don't have to be worried about whether or not when she goes to work, if I got to hear about.
Went on to say, and that's just
Grubhub and your DoorDash deliverer.
That I didn't edit out because I just played the video. I didn't have time to edit it, but she went on to say, because they asked her, why does she think there's so much homosexuality and other stuff going on in the industry? And she said it isn't about homosexuality. It's about people being, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but she basically said it's about people doing this to other people and recording it for power and control. Just like I told you all. That's what a lot of it is. Okay? She said sometimes these people are lured. Sometimes these people are forced. Sometimes these people are drugged. And this is nothing new because I've heard this before. Now I saw Chronic, somebody in the chat.
swarms.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right there, beloveds. I'm going to stop right there. At the end of the day, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I thought I had the timestamp, but at some point in there, she said that Diddy learned it from Russell. Okay, she said Diddy learned it from Russell Simmons. So I'm sorry. Maybe he did, because here's the thing. We know birds of a feather flock together, and Diddy, Russell Simmons, Jay-Z, all of them were good friends. All of them hung out together. So is it far-fetched to think that these allegations about Russell Simmons are true, given the company that he's kept and how some of these people have been accused of doing such things? Claudette said, yep, she sure did. Okay, so at the end of the day, it was still good to listen to that part that we listened to, because I actually forgot that she had claimed that she read some of Kim Porter's book and talked about what was in it and how these other people's names were in there and that they should be very concerned. About 50 people, she says. And you all remember, just from the little bit that I had, I told you all several of the names that were in there. Okay, Neon Black said, hell of a coincidence. Exactly. So with that all been said, I'm sorry, but Russell hasn't convinced me that he didn't do anything. Okay, that lawsuit was very thorough, and that's just one of them. That's just one of them. And so with all of these people making similar accusations, I have a whole lot of questions. And here's the thing. Him telling us to ask Oprah, well, that didn't help his case any, because Oprah's nefarious too. And not to mention, Oprah has been friends with other people accused of the same thing as Russell Simmons. So make it all make sense. Okay, Harvey Weinstein. All right, so I'm sorry. Oprah is supposed to vouch for him. We're supposed to take her word for it. I don't think so. T of y'all said, Queen, I believe you. Okay. So with that all being said, King Avery said bombs. Okay. Claudette said birds of a feather. Exactly. So, I just think that Russell, he can come back and forth because he doesn't have any criminal charges. That's something we have to look at right now. He's not under a federal investigation that we know of, like Diddy is. He doesn't have any criminal charges that have been filed as of yet. But really, that doesn't mean that he's innocent, because Diddy doesn't have criminal charges filed against him yet either. He's been investigated for criminal charges. Okay? So anyway, Greta says Diddy is depraved. He does it all. Eating grocery backdoor action and has the nerve to want a man and a woman. Just nasty. T of y'all said Russell ever denounced Diddy? Nope. Exactly. So, like I said, maybe we shouldn't be going in on the people that go to visit him in M0lly, because he's their friend, and you really can't tell someone not to support their friend. Maybe they believe he's innocent. Maybe they think he didn't do anything. Maybe they know something we don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is, from the evidence that I've heard, it sounds a whole lot suspect. And from knowing who he's been friends with and who he's been hanging with for the years, the past few decades, it all looks very shisty. Okay, it all looks very suspect. So I don't know if he's guilty or innocent, but I do know that he has a whole lot of accusations, just like Diddy, his good friend. All right? And let's not forget who's coming next, Jay-Z. So with that all been said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, all hell no, I said I'm going to drag everyone, all them fools shiesty. Okay, so anyway, with that all been said, I love you all to life. Okay, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And don't forget to tune in to Queen Amadai TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye, at 6:15 for your spiritual vitamins later on today. All right, until next time, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got